What's up, guys? Toogie here, back again, and in this episode, we finish up the off season as we head in to Season 7. Now, a lot of changes happened. I expect even more changes to happen. I won't get ahead of myself, though, because we have some business to attend to already. We're obviously going to need to figure out the goalie situation. Cleveland is going to be a very interesting team to look at, but let's see here. Seth Jones. The longer we sign him, the cheaper he'll sign for. And obviously, I don't expect him to decline anytime soon. So 8 years at 8.5, that is a sweetheart deal for us. And we'll see if we can make that work. We need to release pretty much everybody who ended up making or finishing the season as a Cleveland Monster. I'm not sure what approach I want to take with them. We may go back to the veteran approach, or we might just go back to the sign as many prospects as we can and get them some playing time approach. But we do need to sign Sven Gortz, or Gertz, however you pronounce that. It is time for his rookie deal. And then Backer, also looking like it's time for his rookie deal. I'm going to let him go, though. I know somebody like Ralph Jarrett has panned out from that spot, but he's also 21. So we are going to let him go. And, of course, we sent the offer. We sent the offer to Gertz, didn't we? Yeah, we did. I don't know. It's weird. It didn't show up that we sent him an offer or anything. I thought that's what it did. Jordan Deschanel, or Jaden Deschanel, is on his way out. Vitaly Abramov needs a new deal, and I'm going to sign him to one. I'm only going to sign him for 1 year, though, because I'm not exactly sure what this team is going to look like moving forward. We do need to get rid of a ton of left wingers. And that's the thing, too. I was definitely thinking to maybe use those second-round picks to maybe reacquire Kai Gorodov or maybe some other people. But like I said, I'm not sure what I want this team to look like. I'm not sure just in general what it's going to look like. We'll give Gabe Vilardi the contract he's looking for. He needs to have a big season. Kevin Stenlund has absolutely earned a new deal despite his lower overall. He plays much better than that. And we have everybody. We have offers out to everybody that we need them to be out to. Easy for me to say. So we'll see who resigns, and then what happens in free agency. Who the hell knows? Seth Jones, Gertz, Vilardi, Abramov. It's looking like everybody is back. The question is, how much cap space do we have? And the answer to that is $7.26 million, with a ton of contract spots up for grabs. So let's move forward to the free agent period and see who the big fish guys are. Our top six is pretty much set. Our defense is pretty much set. Our goaltending is definitely set, aside from who plays in Cleveland. The only question is, and really, I'm kind of kicking myself. I wish I took that goaltender I think Colorado or Winnipeg ended up getting, who ended up being elite potential, because we do need a good goalie. Although, it's not like whoever plays in Cleveland is going to end up replacing Korpisalo anytime soon. But yeah, I just regret that pick in general. But just to go show you, exact potential doesn't always mean great. Sam Reinhart's available. We have this guy, Jaspers, who is a restricted free agent. Chuck Jaspers, the 4th overall pick from the 2019 draft by Edmonton. Maybe we'll make... not like we need him. Like, we could make a play for him and then eventually trade some other defenseman. What is he, actually? I forgot. He's a lefty, so he would replace Chychrun, most likely. I don't know. We'll have to see. Like I said, I do not know. I don't have a set plan like I normally do when I go into free agency. So it's all up in the air. We will see what happens. Now, guys, before we move forward, there are definitely some free agent prospects I'm looking at. I'm going to make a play for Jaspers from Edmonton. I think it's a good call. And if we do get him, of course, we can just end up trading one of our other defenders. So regardless, it's looking like it's going to be a first and a third round pick. I want to get him for as long as possible. I'm not sure. Actually, you know what? 3 years. I'm going to go 3 years at 5.9. Actually, hold on. Let me actually do some research here. We'll see how much cap space Winnipeg actually has. So much like when we forced them out of Darnell Nurse, we can double check here. They have $3 million, of course, now. They only have 32 contracts. The situation with Duchesne and Schwartz isn't helping them at all. So essentially, if we get this guy, you could almost make it out to be like we traded Schwartz and Duchesne for Nolan Patrick and Jaspers. If we essentially get this guy, which would be amazing. Now, unfortunately, actually, was that always at 5? Yeah, that was always at 5. So $3 million, they can't do anything. Like, no matter what we offer him, I mean, obviously he would still have to accept it, but we're good to go. This is like taking candy from a baby. There's nothing they can do about it. So I'm thinking 4 years of 5.9. That is pretty fair. I'm going to go for 5.8 just to save a little bit of money. And okay, so it would be like giving up Duchesne, Schwartz, the first and the third for Jaspers and Nolan Patrick, which to me is worth it. So we will see if we can get this guy from Edmonton, and that might spell the end of someone's tenure, really, which, who knows, it might even be someone like Erik Karlsson or Seth Jones who goes if I decide I want to get a big powerhouse forward when I trade away a defender. But let's see here. We should be getting an answer soon, I would hope. Chuck Jaspers has accepted, which means he is good to go. So we're trading a first and a third round pick for an 89. And, okay, again, we know you accepted. Edmonton isn't going to be able to sign him. It's a guarantee. They do not have the money. So, EA, I'd appreciate you not wasting my time. And there you go. So a first and a third round pick for Chuck Jaspers. So I am more than all right with that. We will take a look at his trade value as well. The fact is, if we wanted to even, we could really hold on to all of them. I mean, we got $2 million right now in cap space. But looking here, we have Jones, Karlsson, Jaspers, Ritu, Savard, and Chychrun, all with very, very solid trade value. So the question is, and Erik Karlsson's 32. Now, I could easily keep Chychrun, even though Chychrun's really struggled in the playoffs, we could keep Chychrun and Savard together as the best second-line pairing in the game, put Jaspers on the first line with Seth Jones, and we could get rid of Erik Karlsson, who has 4 years left on his deal. He does have a very good deal, in fairness. But we could get rid of Karlsson and pick up one hell of a forward if we needed to. And that was my big question, is do I want Alvin Dahlman as the second line left wing? And despite the fact that he did very well in the playoffs, I don't think I do. So we could go out and pick up a powerhouse left wing to play with Isaac Lutzer on the second pairing. And then, of course, Line A would still be the top line. Right wing and Puljujärvi would be on the second line. So I'm not sure who that would be, but of course we're going to take a look and see what we can come up with. Oh, and before I forget to, that counts. We are not allowed to sign any other big-time free agents. He's been a great player for us, but it's a move that I feel comfortable with. Erik Karlsson is on his way to Vancouver for Pete Gerby and the Canucks' third-round pick this year. Now, as you can probably tell by the amount of salary that we just saved, Pete Gerby is a young player with pretty damn good value, 87 overall at 19 years old, the number one overall pick from the 2021 draft, who we will play on the left wing. In his rookie year last year, he had 52 points in 79 games. He is on that entry-level deal for 2 more years. So our top 6 right now is shaping up to be, you will have Nolan Patrick with Tkachuk and Laine, Gerby with Lutzer and Puljujärvi. If that can't get it done offensively, I don't know what can. Now, as we get into crafting this team, the first move we are going to make is sending Viktor Tarasov to Arizona, along with three fourth-round picks, to the Oats for their second-round pick this year. Remember, we no longer have our first or third because of the free agent signing. So I do want to rack up some second-round picks, and actually I'll show you right now. We'll just hit best roster for the moment. I will show you the draft picks that we have. We do have quite a few seconds that we could potentially use to trade up and get another first-round pick. But Tarasov's morale plummeted. He wasn't looking like he was going to make the team. He didn't deserve to after his playoff performance, so he's out. We have another trade, this time with the Minnesota Wild. We send our defensive prospect Timonen, along with 2 fourth-round picks and 2 fifth-round picks, to Minnesota for their second-round pick this year. We have another trade, this time, unfortunately, with 3 defensemen who are just on the outside looking in. It is Duchesne, Filatov, and Mironov. We also, easy for me to say, send some picks to LA for their first-round pick this year. So we have a first-round pick. So, guys, let me introduce you to the Season 7 Quebec Nordiques and Cleveland Monsters. The Nords with a 96 offense, 95 defense, 91 goaltending. The Monsters, 76 offense, 78 defense, and 79 goaltending. We will, of course, start with the main team, the top line. Matthew Tkachuk with Nolan Patrick and Patrick Laine, all 24. Now, again, you could argue getting Tkachuk and Laine not exactly the most realistic. Edmonton finishing last this year, or in the first season, to get Nolan Patrick, not exactly. Actually, they won the lottery, I think. That was a while ago. Anyway, second line left wing, up to an 89 overall, Pete Gerby. He is here, and we will see what he can do. He is with now 90 overall Isaac Lutzer, who is still a second line forward, and Jesse Puljujärvi. Third line, Alvin Dahlman, and from there is where it's where we're going to sink or swim. Think of it as the Chicago method in a way. Like the downside to us having some of these amazing players is that the bottom 6 is filled with guys where we just don't know what they are going to do. Gabe Vilardi, our very first draft pick, 7th overall in 2017. Kevin Stenlund is still here. He is 26 now, though. He's not going to get any better than what he is, but he did finish with a career-high 33 points last year. Then you have Vitaly Abramov. What is he going to do? Obviously, low top 6 is irrelevant. He's not going to get any better than about an 83 that we've seen him at. He is with Passy Hall. What will he do this year? And Evan Tambellini, who is making the team out of Cleveland, 22. He's an 81 overall, our second-round pick, 48th overall in 2020. And we will see what he can do defensively. Obviously, we took a little bit of a hit to get Pete Gerby, but right now it is Chuck Jaspers, 89 overall, 23 with medium elite potential. He is here. He will play with Seth Jones. You have Chychrun with David Savard, who has dropped an overall point, which is pretty disappointing. That could be a morale thing, though. And then Ralph Jarrett, who, believe it or not, is up to an 84 and is now a top 4 defender. So we will see what happens with him. He, of course, plays with Jerry Girardi. So is the defense a little bit weaker? Yes, without Erik Karlsson. But we still have Jaspers, who's a decent enough replacement, and Ralph Jarrett has gotten better. The goalie, of course, is Joonas Korpisalo. Ty Edmonds is the backup. No scratched players. That is the lineup. Now, we have cap space, as you'll see in a little bit. So we could potentially go out to make that bottom 6 even better and even more competitive, or we can sit and wait, because all of these guys do at least have potential, aside from Stenlund, but I do think Stenlund's earned his spot to at least be on the 4th line. So let me know what you think. Should we just roll with this team and give these guys a chance, or should we just say fuck it and go out and get players who we know for sure will be better? If it was up to me, I'd say we just roll with what we have right now and see how we do. In the AHL, we are going with the prospects first style. Top line is going to be Jesus Dunham, now a 72, with Tuomas Kallio and J.C. Donovan. Second line is Daniel T-Ball, the 22nd overall pick in the 2021 draft. He is with American sniper Ryan Peters. and Zach Matthews. Then you have Justin Fair, who was just taken. He will play with Luke Glendening, who was one of the rare signings that we actually had, and Jeff Bomick. And the fourth line is Daniel Krogh, Brock Keeler, and Tiny Walton. So we'll see what they can do. Don't expect them to make the playoffs. Obviously, we're going with the weaker strategy again, but we have some good prospects, so I want them to have ice time. Scratched players, we have two guys that could step in if needed. We could sign more, too. We still have roster space. Luke Phillip and Nathan Noel, guys that could step in if needed. Defensively, it's looking all right. We have Craig Lowry. He's our best defensive prospect. He plays with Michael Paliota, who was a free agent signing as an actual good player. Then we have Vaclav Smolanak, who we just took with the 10th overall pick, 72 overall, medium elite potential. He will play with Ulf Telkvist. And then we have Ruslan Zykov, who we took in the 5th round of the 2021 draft. He plays with Sven Gertz. I don't know. Defensively, for prospects, or not for prospects, but for depth, we have Kyle Wood as the right-handed backup, and the left-handed backup is Trent Niedermeyer. Unfortunately, we were not able to, and actually I'll show you that in a minute. Hold on, drop that thought for a second. The goaltending, it is Eddie Lack with Artu Kulmala as the two guys. So we went with the best goaltending possible. But as we wrap up this episode, I want to get you guys a look at the draft picks and the current contract situation. That's looking pretty good right now. We're about $8 million under the cap, which is pretty solid. We have $8.72 million to spend, which is going to come in handy because, again, we have a pretty big offseason next year. Stenlund, Lutzer, Girardi, Jarrett, Abramov, Tambellini. Most importantly, Line A and Pulju, Yarvi. I don't know about goaltending, though. I do not know about goaltending. We're good, goaltending-wise. But this year, we also have 5 contract spots open, but really it's 4 because we attempted and we actually signed our number 1 pick, Ritu. But unfortunately, he is from the CHL, so he had to be sent back to junior, which is a shame. I really wanted them to get them in. Why the current morale is that fucking low, who knows? But that is the current situation. So we do have contract spots. We have cap space. So if we need to make changes to this team, we absolutely can. It's just whether or not those lower overall guys can get it done and whether or not the top guys can perform. And really, it's just kind of hit me now how much we've changed this team. You know, Duchesne, Short, just even to the trade debt. You compare this team to what it was at the trade deadline of last season to what it is now. It is a completely different team. Karlsson's gone. Duchesne's gone. Kagorodov, Ehlers, guys I did not expect to be gone. But our team is what it is. And I'd like to think we're still in a very good spot. As far as draft picks go, we have 1 first-round pick, a handful of seconds, 1 third, and a couple of 7ths. So it will probably end up being the same thing it was last year at the draft, where we just try to sneak into the first round, get high picks, and hope for the best. But before then, of course, the goal is to win the Stanley Cup once more. That loss to St. Louis really stings, so we're going to make sure that it does not happen again. But guys, that will do it for this episode. Again, I hope you enjoyed, as always. If you did, make sure to support the channel by any way you deem necessary. And in the next episode, we look to begin our journey, really, back to the Stanley Cup final. We're going for a 3rd straight division title and potentially a 3rd straight cup appearance. I want another trophy, and hopefully with the drastic changes we have made, this team can lead the way. Thanks once again for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.